America's climate crisis is worsening, with tornadoes and record flooding hitting the nation's southeast. Rescues are still underway across the west of Kentucky after a record rainfall. The disaster comes after 3 days of climate talks between Washington and Beijing, at which the United States warned the world was on the brink of catastrophe.
From above, the carnage looks like something out of a film set. But this is fast becoming America's new normal.
Oh my God, dude! That's crazy!
Extreme weather hitting nearly every state, blowing away records for heat, flooding and rainfall, just like these homes in North Carolina. A tornado came crashing through the state, bringing winds up to 240 kilometres an hour.
It was real fast, yeah. I ain't never seen nothing like this in person.
In neighbouring Kentucky, urgent rescues are still underway after a record-breaking 24 hours of rain.
There's a piece of somebody's house floating away.
Floodwaters swamped roads, homes and cars. Even heavy vehicles were no match.
I've never seen the water get this bad, and I've never seen a vehicle go off the road in the water.
Scientists say climate change is responsible for America's year of extreme weather, and the nation is not alone. At least 2 people have died after massive storms hit the Balkans, the second in 48 hours. In Belgrade, residents were told to take shelter as the powerful rains hit, amid fears of flash flooding. It comes after 3 days of intense climate talks between the US and China, at which both nations agreed the issue needs to transcend politics.
The climate crisis is a universal threat to humankind, and we all have a responsibility to deal with it as rapidly as we can.
But with no real solutions and no global unity on how to tackle the matter, this year of climate reckoning only looks set to get worse. Catherine Firkin for 10 News First, New York.
The Kremlin has issued an ominous warning to maritime traffic, saying from tonight they will consider all ships travelling to Ukrainian ports on the Black Sea potential carriers of military equipment. There was no further information of what might happen to such ships, but Russian forces have been shelling the port of Odessa for the last 2 days, specifically targeting infrastructure used for grain and other food shipments.
The port terminal that suffered the most from the Russian terror last night had 60,000 tonnes of agricultural products stored in it. Everyone is affected by this Russian terror. Everyone in the world should be interested in bringing Russia to justice for its terror.
But in what could be considered a victory for the president in his first public appearance since his high-profile mutiny, Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin has said that his forces will no longer fight in Ukraine and he will instead deploy his forces to Africa. Donald Trump has lost his bid for a retrial of the civil case brought by writer E. Jean Carroll. The judge ruling there was not a miscarriage of justice and the jury did not reach a seriously erroneous result. This is a blow for the former president, who has to pay Carroll almost $7.5 million in damages and will not have the finding that he sexually assaulted and defamed her withdrawn. 2 investigators from America's Internal Revenue Service have told Congress their investigations into Hunter Biden's tax returns were hampered by political interference. They claim if they had been able to investigate him properly, more serious crimes would have been found.
Appeared to me, based on what I experienced, that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware in our investigation was constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized by DOJ officials as well as other U.S. attorneys.
The lead Democrat on the Republican-dominated committee called the hearing a theatre of the absurd and an exercise for futility and embarrassment. A powerful explosion in Johannesburg has torn apart one of the city's busiest roads, causing chaos throughout the city. It's suspected leaking underground gas pipes are responsible for the blast, which was powerful enough to flip more than 20 vehicles. At least 9 people were also taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Officials say the damage is extensive and covers an area the size of at least 5 city blocks. They also admitted several nearby buildings are now at risk of collapse.